Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Ace and this is a video for the Fractals of the Mist, the new dungeon with Guild Wars 2. The dungeon that I was looking forward to, and I am absolutely not disappointed. I have been able to play several difficulty levels without too much of a problem as a Dagger Ellie. But sometimes it might have been a bit easier if I was using a staff. Nonetheless, I had a lot of fun and it is indeed incredible. So if you are looking for a group or you are thinking about doing it, definitely go and do it. The first difficulty level, or any difficulty level for that fact, is pretty much randomized. Once you get into a map, that's the map you have to complete before you can continue, but what kind of map you're getting is completely randomized, and most of them always have some kind of puzzle element into it. May it be a jumping puzzle element, or perhaps you have to drag a hammer to the top, which is the one on the last in this video, which was my favorite because of the giant colossus. There is a puzzle with dredge where you have to make sure that you coordinate people to stand on some kind of buttons, and then doors will open so the rest of your team can continue, and then they will have to stand on buttons so you can continue. There's a lot of coordination going on and it really feels like an awesome dungeon. This, by the way, is the first boss within this map of this fractal. But the best part of this map is the stairs right here. As you can see, if you mess up, you're downed, you're doomed. And the only way to disable this is to get 3 people up there so they can disable the turrets, and then you can have the other 2 come up with you. I do highly recommend, though, to have a team that has some kind of voice communication, so you can pretty easily make sure that you can get that coordinated, because there's a lot of stuff that you might want to coordinate as fast as you can, because otherwise it might end up in you dying, which is slightly inconvenient. This is the second boss of this map, and as you can see, this is his base move. It's the easiest boss that I've seen so far, by far, because he only stands in the middle, and this is a safe spot. He can't hit you here. The only thing that hits you here is a poison cloud. Now I'm using double dagger here, so I'm a bit stupid here, because I could not switch to my staff in time. And this is also the very first time that I was fighting this specific boss. So if you have a long range weapon, just stand on the ledge on the sides and the poison bolts can't hit you, only the poison cloud, but your heal is way more powerful than the damage he can ever do at this stage. Now you continue with jumping and you get up there, you fight some harpies on the way, and then you get the Raving Azura. The Raving Azura. I am not kidding. You don't have to kill the Azura itself because he's invulnerable all the time. You have to kill his pet robots, Mr. Snuggles and such. And then you have to kill them one by one, and once you have killed them one by one, they all spawn at the same time, and he will start to nuke as well. And then when you have them all killed, he basically gives in, and you get a pretty big ass chest with a possibility of getting a lot of good loot, which was kind of amazing. In fact, I am so convinced by this new dungeon that I might actually just give up on World 3 World altogether for all my other characters and just level up in here, just get my gear in here. It's so much fun if you have a fun group of 5 people, and other maps are also a lot more challenging, and every time you clear one you get this nice cutscene which allows you to get this feel of victory. At least that's what I felt when I completed it. I felt like I've accomplished something. But this one is one of the easier maps, I find. This is the first difficulty and the first map I ever did. And I have to say that it was one of the easiest, so don't judge it by that. This is the Dredge Place, the second map I ever did. And this is where a bit of a interesting puzzle element comes into play. Because the dredge will keep spawning, but you have to stand on these buttons to be able to allow your team to continue through the door right there, as you can see at the lower right. Which is a very interesting element because it forces you to coordinate with your party. Now I of course got a big guild and we have mumbles and such, but I'm definitely worried for the Fractals of the Mist and pug groups that don't have voice communication and have to type everything out. I can definitely see that going wrong in certain places, especially now that I've completed more difficulty levels and have seen every single map there is, including the giant tentacle rape monster of doom. Yes, there is one of them. Get ready for it, because you will feel it a day afterwards. Anyway, another interesting element in the dredge itself is that you have to open doors, you have to blow them up and such. But that's not the best part of this dungeon. The best part of this dungeon is the last boss, with a very interesting mechanic. It's the first time I really felt that you had to use a mechanic to complete a boss. And this only becomes stronger and stronger the more you go into the Fractals of the Mist. The harder it becomes, the more you have to rely on these certain tactics to actually kill the boss. Right here, you actually just have to make sure you keep killing the constant dredge. Then you can blow up the door. You have to lay bombs in front of them. And then you have a champion here. Now, the dredge around him keeps spawning. So my advice to you guys is to keep nuking him as hard as you can, without too much of a thought about every single other dredge, unless they're starting to hammer onto you. Otherwise, just focus your AoE on the boss itself and you should be fine. That's the only thing that we did, and we got away with it with too much of a fuss to begin with, so I guess that's one way to start it. But then he is not the end boss. Now, the end boss is, strangely enough, a giant legendary ice elemental, as you can see right here. And if you just keep attacking him, you can attack him for days, months, even years. He won't really do a whole lot. He will go down very, very, very slowly. So we started to look around, and we noticed certain strategical placed locations where you could lure him into. And then you have to interact with a control panel, which will lower or down a bit of molten metal or something like that, or just magma, whatever it is. It's going to superheat him, giving him a debuff, and then you can do massive amounts of damage to him. As you can see right here, he stands under it. You have to kite him under it. You can immobilize him as well. He gets superheated. He has this fire aura around him, and you just nuke. You nuke and you don't care about anything else in the game. You just nuke. The numbers some people are getting are insane. 10, 20k. It is amazing to get that feeling of the highest numbers possible thanks to this debuff. Now, if this was a harder difficulty level, yeah, understand that you truly have to rely on this mechanic to become flawless. If you miss one, then your team gets a longer time, or has to have a longer time to kill him, which also means more mistakes can happen, which means then you might wipe. Now, there are checkpoints in the game, so if you have crossed the checkpoint, sometimes wiping isn't too bad. But if you die in a location where people can't res you, you have to wait until you have a checkpoint, which is definitely frustrating. Now, once you kill him like this, there's a giant chest once again, and pretty much a pop-up that will tell you that everybody is ready to go to the next map, which is kind of awesome. There are pretty much 4 maps that you have to do with each difficulty level so far. And this was my favorite, one of my favorites, in addition to the tentacle one. Really short but sweet. But as you can see, there's a giant colossus right there, and he's moving. It was pretty amazing when I first saw that. I have to say, it looks pretty amazing. At the end of this, looks even better. I am not gonna lie. But there's a lot of mini bosses here, but that's not truly the mechanic. The mechanic of this map is that you have to drag a hammer from this person with you all the way to his head of the colossus to free him. Now, you would think, sounds kind of easy. The hammer, though, is kind of cursed. He will make you more vulnerable, you will die quicker, and you have to actually coordinate people to make sure they hit the hammer and the seal that is, holding the colossus in place. Now, the trick with the hammer is basically to hit or kill somebody with the hammer, so the hammer gets charged, which then allows you to do damage to the seal. Do enough damage to the seal will break, you can move on. Now, there's a part with the arms where you have to constantly walk back and forth because the seal will get a shield, and then you have to go to the different arm. You have to make sure that one of your party members walks all the way back, and you have to have 2 people on one side. That's what we did. And you go to the head, you have another good fight. It's all kinds of amazing. Now, this was the best part ever. The Colossus gets free in an epic motion, and I just stood there and I typed wave as a badass, because that's who I am. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick walkthrough. Make sure to check it out. I really, really recommend it. And I will make sure to catch you guys next time. Take care.